I've been looking at the Psalms, and I'm going to look today at Psalm 26. Just read a little bit from that psalm. And it says here in verse 6, I wash my hands in innocence and go about your altar, O Lord, proclaiming aloud your praise and telling of all your wonderful deeds. I love the house where you live, O Lord, the place where your glory dwells. Do not take away my soul along with sinners, my life with bloodthirsty men, in whose hands are wicked schemes, whose right hands are full of bribes. But I lead a blameless life. Redeem me and be merciful to me. My feet stand on level ground. In the great assembly, I will praise the Lord. The psalmist is talking quite a lot in Psalm 26 about, this wrestling of my heart's pure while I'm trying to walk that way, and I'm just trying to be open to the fact that I'm letting God be in charge of things in my life, and that's kind of where I'm coming from. That's his plea, really, and he's trying to express that commitment, that devotion, that passion, that loyalty to God, and yet he doesn't want to get caught up with all the people who perhaps are in quite a different place, where he would get sucked into the vortex, the chaos of really where they're going, what's going on with them. Isn't that true of life? That's no more a difference from then until today. It's a constant challenge that we face. We get caught up in people's stuff, their angst, their agendas, their wrong motivations, the anger, the passion that the whole society is kind of plagued with sometimes, that's not always healthy, helpful, holy, honorable, you name it. And so he's really asking God, please spare me from getting sucked into this. Spare me from getting drawn into this. Doesn't that speak to us today about social media and about all sorts of media drama that quickly consumes us? I think it's very relevant, these verses, for a situation right now. And the psalmist comes back to this place. But I lead a blameless life. Redeem me and be merciful to me. My feet stand on level ground. In the great assembly, I will praise the Lord. He just wants to stand on a good footing, a firm foundation. My prayer today is that we'll get that sense of feeling secure, our feet on the rock. That's what the Psalms talk about. I was reading that little parable that Jesus told about the person who builds a house on the rock, as opposed to the person who builds a house on the sand. Both look okay, but when the storm comes, when the water comes running down, when the pressure's on, one of those houses collapses. It just doesn't have the footings that it needs to be a stable building. But the other one is really founded, it's secure. The rock doesn't move in the same way that the sand starts to give way. And that's quite important. So we need to be really rooted, established, firm, with a stable foundation. That's my prayer for us today, that we'll have that we'll find ourselves really secure and stable in God, so that when stuff comes flying around the internet, when stuff comes flying around in our lives, when opinions, voices, pressures, and all the rest of it come hurtling around, we'll be able to speak with peace to the storm, because in our hearts we'll be walking in God's peace. In our hearts we'll be walking in that place of intimacy with God. We'll be in that place of stillness with him, like Jesus in the boat in the storm. Everybody else was pretty panicked and fearful and terrified and pretty worked up. Jesus wasn't. He was in a place of authority as the Prince of Peace. That's my prayer for us today, that we'll have that security, that we'll return to that sense of being deeply rooted, having our feet on solid rock, and whatever's going on around us, have that sense of his peace in our lives.